Greening commercial buildings, mission impossible, or not?
I think the first thing we stressed was the importance of the non-domestic sector, which I'm sure you'll all agree with. The non-domestic building sector, because it is 18% of the UK emissions, has been said, and the emissions have been roughly flat since 1990. So it is a big opportunity, but it is a very big challenge as well. The non-domestic building stock could reduce its emissions by about 35% by 2020. That's ahead of the rest of the economy and all of the targets that the government are setting, and save about £4.5 billion in the process. When one looks out to 2050 as well, the stock could reduce its emissions by 75% at no net cost.
I'm a firm believer in the fact that the sustainability agenda and green issues is there very visibly and inevitably will start to influence investment returns for real estate at a point in the future. It seems logically inevitable with energy prices increasing, the way legislation is going, regime, CRC and behavioural issues, that at some point the sustainability side of things does come into the pricing of real estate. It's really not a question of is it a mission impossible, can it be done? Absolutely, without question, we have to address it. And the best fund managers will be slightly ahead of it and on the front foot, and the worst fund managers will put their head in the sand.
Just addressing new buildings isn't going to get us very far very quickly. You can achieve significant double-figure energy and carbon savings almost overnight through changing practice and behaviours, and although everybody thinks that's a good idea, actually trying to make it happen in practice is proving a lot harder.
We've actually found that it's actually the reputational side of things that is actually more of a driver than the financial side, because as Russell says, people don't want to be at the bottom of the list, and that's actually more of the driver for CRC.
Absolutely not mission impossible. From our perspective, it's an opportunity primarily to form a much closer working relationship with the occupiers of our buildings.
There are fundamental issues with occupied premises and the landlord-tenant relationship about the energy that's actually used in the space, and that becomes particularly so in retail, where if we've got a shopping centre where we're paying the original bill for the whole centre and then recharging, we have no influence at all over how Sainsbury's, Marks and Spencer or anybody else uses energy in their store. But if we're paying the CRC allowance cost, they effectively have a licence to pollute without any payment, and that link is completely missing.
There certainly are things that we would look at, assets, portfolios we would look at, that we would early on say, no, we're not interested in buying that almost at any price, because we think it's just a nightmare from a sustainability point of view. You probably do need something pretty draconian to change the behaviour of a lot of participants in the market.
How do you make the building right for the occupier at the least cost?
You can quite quickly do things with buildings that will save you money just on the basis of behavioural and tuning the building up. And I think a lot of the thinking that's gone into the types of report that the Carbon Trust have done is about thinking about how you align the incentives such that the right business practices come together and that people can actually all the way along the supply chain benefit from the improvements that can be made.
The key question, though, is the order with which the measures that are required to get that reduction need to be taken. We need to take all of the measures, but the order has a very significant effect on the overall cost of the economy of getting there. The key conclusion is that we need the cost-effective energy efficiency first, out by 2020, over the next decade.